Back here on Titans Talk, breaking down what happened yesterday with the Titans in a frustrating loss to the Texans 22-13, snapping the team's 6-game winning streak, but they are still atop the AFC. Talked a lot in the first segment about the injuries and how they may be piling up, mounting for sure, and affecting what exactly the product this team can put on the field, especially on the offensive side of the football. The defense has still gotten around it. You got Kevin Byard out there and Jeffrey Simmons and Harold Landry and Danico Autry. Those guys have stayed healthy, and they're still wreaking havoc on opposing quarterbacks and opposing offenses, and they played well again yesterday. But at some point, you got to be able to score. This is a league about the offense, and the Titans were supposed to have a historically good offense this year. And now with the guys around the field, it seems almost impossible that that can be the case. The one thing that I think could be criticism yesterday for the coaching staff, and I hesitate to even criticize Mike Vrabel because I think Mike Vrabel has done a tremendous job as the Titans head coach throughout the entire time, is 4 seasons of winning records, getting to the playoffs, getting to an AFC championship game. I think what Mike Vrabel's done with the Titans is exemplary. I think his record against good teams is marvelous. It's one of the best you will ever see against playoff teams from the year before, teams that are expected to be good. There is a knock that he loses games to the Jets. He loses games to the Texans that you don't think that they should lose. But yesterday, the criticism I have within the game was typically Mike Vrabel and the Titans coaching staff, I think, deserves a lot of credit for sticking with their game plan regardless of the situation early on. Just saying, this is what we're going to do. And we're going to do it, and we're going to find a way to be in the game late. And then at that point, we'll do what we have to do to win the game. And we've seen them with a record number compared to the rest of the league, fourth quarter and overtime victories under Mike Vrabel since 2018. Sticking with the game plan is what the Titans do. Running the football, and often that was behind Derrick Henry, staying with that, staying within striking distance, and then figuring it out late. Here's my thing about yesterday, though, and I get Derrick Henry isn't out there. It's a backfield by committee. And it's not just Derrick Henry. It's no Darrington Evans. It's no Jeremy McNichols. So you're really down the depth chart from where you thought you were starting in terms of the running back room. But yesterday, right from the jump, it seemed like they were overly aggressive in their decisions on the offensive side of the ball and unwilling to just take points. And then when they got down, it seemed like they felt like they had to get it all back, like in a play or in a drive. Normally, the Titans are really good about understanding that it's a 60-minute game, and you just stick with what you do it well, and if you do that, you're going to have a chance at the end. Yesterday, it felt like they were trying to win it in 10 minutes, or win it in the first half, or win it in the first drive of the second half. And you saw that right from the opening drive. 4th and 2 at the 35. The field's still dry. Randy Bullock hasn't missed a kick in 7 weeks. And the Titans try to run hurry up on 4th and 2, go for it at the 35. They get a false start. Not just prevents them from going for it, it prevents them from lining up for a field goal too. They end up having to punt. Second drive. Coming down the field, they're in the red zone. They get backed up. All of a sudden, it's a 3rd and long situation, 3rd, 6, 3rd and 7. Plays clearly designed to go to A.J. Brown. Ryan Tannehill's clearly looking at A.J. Brown. Everybody in the stadium knows it's going to A.J. Brown, including the Texans. And it's an interception. Now, that's a terrible throw, but part of it felt like the call. Part of it felt like the drive, that they as a team and the staff and the play calling was designed to get a touchdown on that drive. Sometimes you have to cut your losses. Sometimes you have to do the check down. Call another play. If it's incomplete, line up and kick the field goal. Tie the game. Make it 3-3. Let your defense do the job and get you the ball back. Complementary football, as Mike Vrabel always says. 6-0 after that interception and another Texans field goal. Next drive, the Titans are at the 30-yard line. Remember, they don't have Derrick Henry. 4th and a long one. They hand the ball to Adrian Peterson, and he gets stuffed. Could have kicked a field goal. Again, with the kicker out, it missed in 7 weeks. They don't. No points there. End of the half. This is as much on Tannehill as anybody else. But you got 9 seconds left. You're easily in field goal range. Chance to salvage something from a dismal first half and get a field goal. You got 9 seconds left. No timeouts. They try to run one more play. And Tannehill ends up throwing the ball away because nobody's open, and he doesn't get out of the pocket. The resulting runoff ends the half. So you have 4 different possessions in the first half, all of which had the Titans moving the football and not being willing to say, okay, a field goal is a good result to this drive. Tying the game is a good result. Getting within a possession is a good result. Getting on the board is a good result. If the Titans did that a couple times in the first half, how different does that game look in the second half? They didn't do it. And when you continue to not do that over and over and over again, being uber aggressive, not being willing to take what's there, you find yourself down 12-0 at the half. And then when you have the muff punt to start the second half and the Texans capitalize on that, it was 19-0 before the Titans had their first touch of the second half. 19-0. Who saw that coming? And the Titans went right down the field and scored. They got to 19-6 because they did miss the extra point there once the rain really started to come. Which, by the way, you had to figure that in as well. You're in a place in the first half, you can kick some field goals. You know the weather's coming yesterday. There's a 100% chance of rain. Take what's out there when you can, because later, those free points, so to speak, they may not be so free. It was 19-6 after that, and then, of course, you're playing catch-up the entire rest of the way. It's nearly the end of the third quarter then. All your other possessions come in the fourth quarter. That's when all the mistakes and the turnovers came in the driving rain. But I thought the Titans departed from their character a little bit there. And the coaching staff got away a little bit from what they're known for. And that's sticking with their plan, playing Titans football, taking what's there, and saying, we're going to win this game in the fourth quarter. And when you're overly aggressive and it doesn't pan out, you're going to find yourself in a big hole, and then you have to be aggressive. And what happened yesterday is the Titans found themselves in a big hole in the second half. And then they had no choice. They couldn't stay balanced. They couldn't do what they wanted to do running the football, which, by the way, they ran effectively until they couldn't run anymore. And now you're throwing to your 4th, 5th, and 6th wide receiver, needing multiple scores in the fourth quarter of a game. That is not a recipe for success. And it doesn't mean they would have won the game had they played it differently. But in the first half, things weren't going well, but they still had opportunities to just kind of hang around and be with the Texans. And let's face it, if that game could have been 6-6 at the half, or even 10-6 or 12-6 or something like that, Texans, my money's on the Titans to win that game in the second half. But when you're down 12-0 at the half, Texans get the ball and then they recover that muff punt and score, and it's 19-0, well, now all of a sudden it is a really deep hole for you to dig out of after that. And that's what happened to the Titans yesterday. And that's going to be the challenge, is because you don't have Derrick Henry back there anymore. And at the moment you don't have Julio Jones and maybe not A.J. Brown. The challenge for Mike Vrabel and the staff is to continue to play their brand of football, to continue to stick with what has gotten them to this point, and not panic, not be overly aggressive, continue to allow the defense to do its thing, continue to try to be balanced offensively, and kick some field goals here and there. Try to stay in games, try to win them late. They're going to be muddy. A lot of these games are going to go down to the fourth quarter. They all seem to anyway. Be prepared to be in for the long haul. Be prepared to play 60 minutes and maybe then some. But yesterday, I don't think the Titans did that. I think they looked like they were a team trying to win the game with every possession. They were trying to race the deficit with every possession. They were trying to get a touchdown with every possession. And that's the mindset. You try to get a touchdown with every possession. But at points, you have to be willing to settle. You have to be willing to take 3 and not risk 0. You have to be willing to cut into a deficit and not potentially be down bigger. And yesterday, the Titans did not do that, and it put them in an almost impossible situation late, which, of course, they weren't able to overcome. To the phones we go. Our number is 737-7767 if you'd like to get in on the program tonight. We say hello to Ethan. Ethan, what's up? Welcome to Titans Talk.
Thanks for taking my call, Steve.
You bet.
I just wanted to pretty much listen to your analysis, and it's probably the best analysis of what happened yesterday that I've heard. I mean, it's not anything that can't be fixed, but I feel like by the second half, we were about as balanced with them talent-wise. You know, I mean, I felt like we were a better team, but as far as like personnel, we really was almost equal with the Texans. You know what I mean? As far as not having any weapons. So, you know, our defense did, like you said, they stepped up and they kept us in the game, and we just didn't have anything that we could add to it. But what I appreciated about your analysis is that even your criticism of Vrabel, it was kind of, I could see where Vrabel was at. He was frustrated because he knows we're a better team than that, but we were just, you know, the weather played a part, but it was like our talent just wasn't there. I mean, we didn't have the weapons, and it was frustrating knowing you're a better team, but you can't, you know, make the plays work. So I'm like you. I feel like he pushed the envelope a little too much, trying to make something happen. But all in all, I feel like that whatever happened can be fixed, you know. But we do need to get some people healthy. But I feel like, you know, I feel like we can go into the Patriots game using this opportunity, you know, using what happened as maybe a motivator and finish out strong. So, you know, I'm just going to try to be optimistic. But I appreciate your analysis and all you guys, what you do for us.
Ethan, good stuff. Thanks for the call. Look, first and foremost, this team's got to get healthy or healthier. They just need some bodies back because Ethan's not wrong. Second half of that game yesterday, you looked who was on the field. I don't know if you say offense to offense that the Titans had any advantage in terms of the talent out there. I'd take Ryan Tannehill, yesterday aside, over Tyrod Taylor at quarterback. But when you start talking about the receivers that were on the field, I mean, Brandon Cooks is better than anybody the Titans had on the field in the second half after A.J. Brown went out. Maybe Chris Conley, too. Not superstars, but Titans certainly had no superstars at the wide receiver position. And when you look at the running back, I mean, Adrian Peterson versus David Johnson would have been a heck of a matchup in the backfield in 2014. Yesterday, not so much. There just wasn't much out there offensively for the Titans yesterday. And that's the other thing is the defense played well. But here's the thing about the defense for the Titans is when they were winning in this stretch, they not just were playing well, but they were creating game-changing plays. I mean, you look at that game in Los Angeles a couple weeks ago, the offense didn't do much in that game. And in that game, they had A.J. Brown and Julio Jones. The defense is what changed that game. The defense set them up. I mean, Kevin Byard had a pick 6. They also had an interception return to the 2 that led to a touchdown. The Titans' points in that game were set up by the defense's dominance, the splash plays, the turnovers forced by the defense. We saw that in Indianapolis. The defense coming up with some big plays to help the offense out. They're going to have to continue to do that. Because right now, with the talent that is on the field and able to go, the Titans offense is not putting up 30 points. They're not. And so the defense is going to have to come up with the plays to put the offense in the advantageous positions. And that's the one thing yesterday, as well as they played, props to the Texans. They did not turn the football over. They did not give the Titans ammo to get back in the football game. But that's going to be the thing that has to be the focus of this defense moving forward, is they're going to have to elevate the Titans, because right now the offense can't do it. The defense is going to have to rise to the occasion and continue to come up with big plays. We'll take a break. Our phone lines are still open. 737-7767, the number. This is Titans Talk on News Channel 5+.